Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And today is going to be a new Throwback Thursday review, and we're going to take a look at the Toy Biz 6-inch Marvel Legends Hulkbuster Iron Man figure. Now this figure, which was sculpted by Dave Cortez, was part of the 11th series of Marvel Legend figures from Toy Biz. It was released back in September of 2005, if I remember correctly, and it was part of the legendary Writers Wave of Marvel Legend figures. Basically, Toy Biz decided instead of doing Build-A-Figure pieces, they included mini vehicles for each of the figures in the wave. And some of the figures in the wave, like Wolverine and I think Vengeance had, or Ghost, yeah, I think it was Vengeance, had motorcycles, which made sense. Some even, like Scarlet Witch, who had like a jet sled of a weird jet sled of some type, made sense. Some were really stupid, like the one that came with this figure was a V-shaped glider. That I don't think Iron Man ever needed or used in the comics. Ultron, which was another figure in the wave, also had a strange looking glider that had an Ultron head on it. They were kind of silly. I don't actually have the accessory handy for this figure, so I don't have it to show you in this video, but just take my word for it, it was pretty lame. The figure came packaged in that, traditional Toy Biz Marvel Legends blister packaging that I always hated because I don't know how many times I cut my hands, when you have to cut those open with scissors and it would have the sharp edges on it and everything. It was great for display purposes if you kept your figures in the packaging, but I really hated trying to open up those figures back in the day. The figure also came with a comic book and a little trading card. So the figure itself is really detailed, and in my opinion this is probably one of the best Iron Man figures that Toy Biz put out in the 6-inch scale. And obviously this is Tony Stark with his Hulk armor that he created, which is much bigger than a normal Iron Man armor suit, so that he could fight the Incredible Hulk. You've got things like the armor ridges over here on his arm guards. His unibeam on his chest, which again has the ridges sculpted in. Just lots of detail, here on his knee pads and everything. I also really like, this has where you can open up the helmet and you see a Tony Stark head, and then just the detail inside is really nice too. You can see controls and stuff. So I really like that. Now, I will say that I'm not a huge fan of this particular head sculpt for Tony Stark. He looks a little too old to me. Almost to me looks like J. Jonah Jameson with black hair as opposed to white hair, more than he does actually Tony Stark. But it's still got nice detailing and all. It just to me doesn't really look like Tony Stark. Enaps are really nice on this figure as well. I use kind of a glossy red for the red portions of the armor, and then metallic gold for the gold portions. You've got some wash work, some black line work that looks really good. Now you'll notice there are a few blemishes on my figure, which honestly, these happened over the years that I've had this figure, and it's been moved around and put in boxes and stuff. Especially here, I definitely don't recall this blemish being on the figure when I originally got it. So, this figure's been through a lot over the years, and so it's definitely stood up for the most part. So that's a testament to the quality, even though you do see a few scratches and paint blemishes on the figure, as old as it is. And like I said, it's not always just sat on a shelf. It's been tossed in boxes before, when I've moved and things like that over the years. So, really good quality on this figure. And then again, inside the armor, around the head sculpt, you can see some nice paint work with the controls and everything. So just a lot of attention to detail on this figure. The scale on this figure is also pretty nice as well. The figure stands just under 8 inches tall. So it's a 6-inch scale figure, but comes in just almost at 8 inches tall. again, this is one of Stark's bigger armors that he created so that he could fight the Hulk. So just for some comparisons, here he is next to one of the Marvel Legends regular Iron Man figures, and you can see how much bigger the Hulkbuster Iron Man is. Here's another Iron Man armor. And I think, if I remember correctly, this is actually the armor that Iron Man wore when he wasn't wearing like the specialized armor in the story that the Hulkbuster armor first appeared in. And then just for one more silly comparison, here he is next to his, I forget exactly what this armor was called, but essentially it was the armor he used to fight Thor. So, another little bit larger armor. Basically it was a repaint of the Destroyer figure that Toy Biz did. This one I don't like nearly as much, but just to give you a size comparison. And then, obviously this armor was designed to fight Hulk, so here's some comparisons with some of the Hulk figures I had lying around. I think this was with, this was a Hulk from one of the two, if I remember correctly, from one of the 2-packs Toy Biz did. I think this figure came with a leader. And you can see Iron Man is a little bit taller than this Hulk. Here he is next to the Toy Biz Peter David Smart Hulk that was part of Toy Biz's Hulk Legends line. And they're about the same height. This is one of my favorite Hulk figures from Toy Biz. And they're pretty close to about the same size. Here he is next to the Future Imperfect Hulk. And again, the Iron Man's just a little bit bigger. And then finally, just for one more comparison, Battle of the Armors. This is a figure Toy Biz did that came with, I think this was part of the Hulk Legends line as well. It came with a little gremlin figure that fits in the back. But basically it's, it's kind of like another mech suit. So, it's kind of, I think these are cool combatants. Even though, they never fought in the comics or anything. But just for your toy shelves, I think they look good fighting each other. Articulation on this figure is also very good. The head of the armor obviously can't turn because there's no neck, but you can turn the Tony Stark head inside. You can have it looking left and right, which is cool. There's no up or down movement on the head, but he does have that left and right turn. He's got the standard ball hinge joints, and he's got the armor pieces, but the shoulder pads are a little articulated, so they don't restrict too much of the movement. He can get his arm out pretty straight, which is nice. Has the bicep swivel, single hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. Has swivels at the wrist, has a hinge at the wrist, so he's up and down movement, and then the fingers had articulated joints as well back then. Now the fist, you can basically have him hold the hand out for like a repulsor blast, even though he doesn't actually have repulsors on his hands. You can kind of give him in that pose. You cannot close the fingers all the way to make a fist though. So he's got a diaphragm joint. He can swivel there at the midsection, and he has a little bit of up and down movement. He also has a swivel at the waist. The legs are on ball hinge joints, so he can get his leg forward pretty good, and he can get his legs out pretty good, even though the armor pieces do kind of restrict a little bit of the movement there. Can't really do his legs back too much. And you can, even though I think mine are kind of stuck, he can swivel there at the thigh with the ball joint. He has double jointed knees, so he's got pretty good bending at the knees. And then he has hinges at the ankle, so he's got some up and down movement there. Also has a little bit of rocking movement with the ankle. Doesn't have an actual swivel there, but a little bit of rocking, and then the toes are articulated. And then he has 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. So, with the Hulkbuster armor appearing in the upcoming Avengers Age of Ultron movie, the Hulkbuster armor is definitely going to get a lot of notoriety. It's unknown at this time whether we're going to get an actual new figure, Hulkbuster figure from Hasbro. I think we're going to probably get one from Diamond Select Toys, based on the movie design, which is pretty similar to what we see here, on all honesty. Question is, if you own this figure, would you still be interested in an updated Hulkbuster figure from Hasbro, and do you think Hasbro would be able to do a better job than this Toy Biz one? I don't know, let us know in the comments section what you think. Anyway, that's my review, my Throwback Thursday review. I hope you enjoy it. Please leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video, and until next time, I'll catch you later.